Hey guys, Pat Ryerke here, also known as the Patriarchy. You guys heard this gaslighting thing? It's something SJWs use all the time when they explain why they're triggered so much and they're traumatized by past relationships, be it an abusive boyfriend, a husband, father. I mean, typically it's men when this phrase is used. If you don't know what gaslighting means, it's a term that origins come from a play called Gaslight from 1938 and a 1944 film adaptation. And here's the Wikipedia page on it, just so we can get the damn description out of the way. Gaslighting is a form of manipulation through persistent denial, misdirection, contradiction, and lying to attempt to destabilize and delegitimize a target. Its intent is to sow seeds of doubt in the targets, hoping to make them question their own memory, perception, and sanity. Instances may range from the denial by an abuser that previous abusive incidents ever occurred up to the staging of bizarre events by the abuser with the intention of disorienting the victim. The term owes its origins to Gaslight, a 1938 play and a 1944 film. It has been used in clinical and research literature. Okay, that's pretty good information, damn. Now, the reason I did this is because there was an article a while back, I remember, from Everyday Feminism, this awful website. I honestly think is one of the worst websites on the internet if I had to rank. Like, they're not quite as painful to go to like Cracked, because Cracked used to be my favorite website on the internet. Now it's one of the worst. Or BuzzFeed, even. This is next level because Everyday Feminism is shameless in the sense that it is just them being regressives and they fucking love it. They even write articles defending their bullshit articles. They have to defend themselves all the time as feminists. And every single one of their articles is a straw man, and every single one of their feminist comics that I've covered, or the white privilege articles and stuff like that. I mean, it's all about hating on men. That's all this website is. It's a bunch of women that clearly hate men. And this article is a perfect example of this because this article more reflects the poor decisions of the woman who wrote it than it does anything negative about the man or gaslighting in general. Because this is usually what somebody's talking about when they talk about gaslighting, when they talk about sexism, racism. It's really been hitting me lately. It's true. It's 9 times out of 10, someone who's a regressive, they are talking about their own personal issues and their problem with being a victim more than they're ever talking about a broader issue or things that actually matter. They are talking about themselves. And this is always what we have to get back to and why we don't like SJWs. Because the narcissism that they have takes away from real people suffering because their issues ultimately are driven more by ego and bad decisions that they can't accept that they made instead of this whole idea that society made everyone bad and society ruined everything and society is the only reason you're weak and unhappy. So she wrote in this article, let's see, what was the writer's name? Susanna Wise. 5 gaslighting phrases Donald Trump used that remind me a lot of my abusive ex. This has got 37.7 thousand shares. So that's crazy. Okay, so 37,000 people have shared this. More than I'll ever get on one of my videos, you know? This election was triggering for a lot of abuse survivors. Trump's Access Hollywood tape leaked, and many have pointed out that he used verbally abusive tactics in the debates. As a survivor of emotional abuse, one tactic of Trump's in particular reminded me of my manipulative ex partner, gaslighting. This is when someone tells you that your thoughts aren't based in reality to the point that you start to distrust your own perceptions. This is from a woman that writes for a propaganda site called Everyday Feminism. So I'm starting to think that maybe you do have bad judgment and are in a delusional reality. I'm going to go with that, but maybe I'm wrong. But I'm assuming that about you. I'll go there. Anyway, she's going to talk about her ex partner's habit of borrowing money from her and not giving it back. He'd tell her she was being too negative. When she got upset at him, he told her that his life was too short to get angry. If I felt hurt by a word he used, he'd say that nobody can make you feel anything without your consent. So it was my problem. I agree with all those things. This led me to feel that I was too unreasonable to trust my feelings. I internalized his arguments and believed that I was unhappy about anything he'd done. I just needed to put it out of my mind because life was too short. Nobody can make you feel anything, and it was all my fault anyway. Since I've learned about gaslighting, I've understood that all the things my partner blamed on me weren't actually my fault. Looking at Trump's words can also help us understand our own relationships, as well as the ways gaslighting can shape our political climate. Oh, fuck off. Once again, let's just connect some random shit to Trump. Now they're going to say that he was being abusive to Hillary in the debates with his language. Emotional abuse. Because it's only ever these feminists who talk about verbal abuse and emotional abuse. You're just a weak person. It has nothing to do with you being a woman or a man. You are a weak person. I'm sorry that you may have to deal with that. That's a tough thing to take, but you are. And that's fine. It's fine to be a weak person. But don't act like that's society's fault that you can't stand up for yourself, or that you're too stupid to break up with a guy that treats you like shit. While people in relationships may gaslight to discredit and manipulate their partners, Trump does it to discredit his critics and manipulate public opinion. Here are some phrases he used that either were used by my abusive partner or remind me of him, because they're clear examples of gaslighting. I never said I'm a perfect person. So her whole thing was this, is that she hates that her ex told her that he wasn't a perfect person. And he said he never tried to be, never pretended to be one. She doesn't like this argument. She's saying the nobody's perfect defense isn't just irrational, it's also malicious. It goes to imply that criticizing someone, you're being so demanding and unreasonable that you expect perfection, and that if you only truly understand that humans are flawed, you would have kept your mouth shut. Of course, people's issue with Trump isn't that he's imperfect. It's that he's promoted misogyny, racism, ableism, atheism. That would be funny if Trump's, and a whole lot of other negativity and oppression. By reducing all these nuanced problems to mere imperfection, he's distracting people from the real issues and painting people as overly critical if they want to talk about them. Yeah, sure. You're not taking away from the real issues when you're trying to make this about a guy that you're still clearly hung up on and pissed off about. How many times did he fuck you? Did he fuck all your friends? I bet he did, didn't he? I bet it sucks. I feel bad for you. This was hard to read. Similarly, if your partner is toxic or abusive, you deserve to be treated better, and that's not an unreasonable request at all. Asking for better isn't asking for perfection. Number 2, this is nothing more than a distraction from the important issues we're facing today. Oh my god, she just said that. She just said that that takes away from that. Holy crap. You're gaslighting me in this article. Trump also said this in the apology video regarding his Access Hollywood tape. He said in the second presidential debate that we need to forget about the tape so that we can get on to much more important things and much bigger things like defeating ISIS. He also tweeted, "I'm not proud of my locker room talk, but this world has serious problems." As if sexual assault wasn't serious or important. These comments aim to convey to Trump's critics that they're blowing something out of proportion. Well, yeah, you guys were. Because Bill Clinton's also an accused rapist and has been for years. And all those women that came out and claimed Trump did stuff came out there all lying. And, yeah, there's no moral argument. You have no moral argument against Donald Trump, so it was a stupid thing to blow up. It probably didn't help you win the election. The fact that Hillary Clinton couldn't beat the grab him by the pussy guy says a lot more about her than it does Donald Trump. When Trump said we need to focus more on important things, he was trying to dismiss people concerned about sexual harassment and assault, many of them survivors themselves, as uncaring, self-centered people who just can't see the big picture. Oh my god. This was locker room banter. Okay, but in our culture, we have phrases designated for the purpose of gaslighting, specifically for men to gaslight women. Locker room talk is one. Boys will be boys is another. These things that people almost never say in real life, or when they're talking about it, it contextually makes sense, but they act like men use this as an excuse for every bad behavior. It's like, oh, this guy raped me. Oh, boys will be boys. You know, you shouldn't have been out there. Both imply that certain misogynist behaviors are forgivable and even inevitable, so if we take issue with them, we are just being too demanding. We're essentially being told that we're asking for too much when we say that sexual assault and entitlement should not be acceptable casual conversation. You can talk about whatever the fuck you want as long as you don't act on it. I don't give a fuck what you say, as long as you don't act on it. My ex-partner did use these phrases, but he did, for example, defend using the word silly to describe an observation of mine, arguing that silly isn't a serious or hurtful word. You are sensitive. He called something you said silly and you're that upset about it? You're comparing it to Trump? What? This language serves the same purpose, invalidation and belittling, by claiming someone else's concerns aren't serious, which is a huge component of gaslighting. I think you're just making gaslighting whatever you want it to be. I think you're just trying to format it to your problem because you can't accept that this guy gamed you and you're clearly very lonely and have this issue to keep going. A lot of these feminists are in abusive relationships, and they continue to get in them even as a radical feminist, and they keep blaming the men in society, and they don't realize that they have a problem they can't deal. And everyone has this. Men have this too. If you're not getting with a lot of people or getting with the person you want to get with, it usually is a problem you have more than it is everyone else's problem. Men and women don't owe you to like you or to want to fuck you. But it's funny when the feminists say that they feel like men all act like they owe, we want their bodies. Their bodies are owed to us. But when men don't treat women right, when we don't respect them the way they want to be treated, or we don't like them the way they want to be liked, then all of a sudden it's gaslighting. He said my opinion was silly. Oh, he's trying to quiet me down because I'm a woman. Maybe you were saying something silly. You're saying a lot of silly shit here. I mean, look in the mirror and just think sometime. Maybe I fucked up too. But let's just keep blaming men. It has to be men's fault. I mean, Hillary didn't do anything. She's playing that woman's card. Trump accused Clinton multiple times of playing the woman card on me, or alternatively playing the woman's card left and right. Accusing someone of playing a card like the woman card or the race card is also an example of gaslighting because it implies that someone trying to find a problem because the problem they're seeing isn't real. Hillary fell back on the woman thing all the time. We kept trying to criticize her as an insider, that she was part of the political status quo, the establishment, and she'd say, "I don't see how the first woman president is not outside of the establishment." It's like, you were the first lady and a senator. It's like, what are you talking about? You're very much part of the political establishment. Hillary'd always try to bring up she was a woman all the time. It was a constant thing in her campaign. Her campaign slogan was even "I'm with her," emphasizing the female aspect of it. Trump's was "Make America Great Again," which is a broad phrase that includes everyone. In Trump's view, if Hillary Clinton tried to talk about gender, she was just doing it because she wanted to win the election, as if being a woman or speaking about sexism gave you an advantage. It didn't once it came, but yes, that's what Hillary was trying to do. That's obvious to anyone who watched Hillary talk about that. Similarly, I and many other feminists have been accused of discussing the struggles marginalized people face just so that people will feel bad for us and will gain special treatment. Well, I mean, you were just up there earlier and you contradicted yourself by gaslighting, doing the same thing you accused Trump of doing, and you're upset that your ex-boyfriend called your argument silly. So I'm sorry if I don't think your issues are that big of a deal. My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. Just patriarchy doesn't see why that's an issue. But I am here to oppress you, bitch. So let's keep it going. Both of these instances made me feel like I had to stay silent if I ever had an opinion related to gender again, even if it was my own lived experience. Yeah, we call that anecdotal evidence. It doesn't hold up in a serious discussion. Sorry. It is good to use. I'll take it seriously, but if you think your experiences prove your point, you have a whole other thing coming. I hate this about feminists. They always use anecdotal evidence. I had a shitty ex-boyfriend, thus men are bad and society is evil. No, you made really bad judgment with the men you decided to date. That's all it is. You can't see the reality of it. It lacks practical thinking. What makes more sense? You keep getting in bad situations because of you, or because every single guy's bad? I mean, it's not hard to deduce it down to what the issue is. Once again, this form of gaslighting is more than a defense. The person using it also is on the offense, attacking the other person for supposedly making up injustice for personal gain. Whether it's used in politics or in the context of a relationship, Woman Card accuses the other person of not only being wrong, but also dishonest and opportunistic. This is from the same site that has a bunch of articles about mansplaining. Basically, if men try to explain things to you, they're mansplaining. So isn't that the same thing as we're telling you guys using the woman card? Oh, it doesn't count because you guys are a marginalized group. That's right. Only marginalized group get to have those opinions. I think it's pure political correctness. One gaslighting technique used by many politicians and everyday people discussing politics is accusing people of trying to limit free speech through political correctness. Trump called putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Well, she put $20 bill, and moving Andrew Jackson to the back. Pure political correctness. His former campaign manager said it was political correctness run amok when people criticize an anti-Semitic tweet by Trump. We can't afford to be politically correct anymore, Trump said in a statement to defend his view as Muslims as terrorists. When equally Equality and justice become mere political correctness, and political correctness is portrayed as a threat to free speech. Every social movement becomes subject to attack. And that's what makes Trump so popular. His supporters have been dying for an outlet for their hateful opinions. They're sick of being politically correct, so much so that he's even elected into office. By deeming efforts to not being oppressive mere political correctness, Trump gives people permission to let out all the thoughts they felt pressure to suppress. He's brought sexism, racism, and classism back in style. In reality, political correctness is just being considerate, and telling people not to be hateful isn't limiting their free speech. They can still legally say what they want. Gaslighters like Trump are themselves trying to silence people by painting their standards as unreasonable and oppressive. Listen to me, you fucking cunt. I'm sick of this shit. Political correctness is bullshit. It's not something that was just made up by white Republicans. George Carlin talked about it years ago through his stand-up. Bill Maher did a goddamn show about it in the 90s. Are you saying Bill Maher isn't a liberal? He even said after the election, political correctness and not attacking Islam lost this election. Your bullshit is political correctness. When you don't let Ben Shapiro go speak at a university, you are censoring free speech. When you guys interrupt Milo at a university, you are interrupting free speech. When you guys get to go up at the Golden Globes and bitch about Donald Trump, but if somebody went up there and said something conservative, they would get booed the fuck out of there. I am sick of this. How is Hollywood the most attacked group in the country when everyone that night spent the whole night Jimmy fucking Fallon attacking a white conservative just because of his political views? They attacked the whole country who had these views. They attack the things that we love, like football and stuff. How do you not see this? Celebrities condescendingly keep making these videos telling us that we're stupid and we're bad people. Meanwhile, they let Lena Dunham work. They applaud for Roman Polanski, a rapist, Casey Affleck, who's been accused of sexual assault. They don't give a fuck. They only care about the morality if it suits their narrative and the people that they don't like. And we didn't go along with them, so they're all pissed off, and you're pissed off. Now you're trying to say that we bitched about PC culture like Smugly Puff or Lacey Green or bullshit shoved down our throats like Ghostbusters. You guys all said it was no. It was just us wanting to be vocal about our hidden sexism and racism and our bigotry. It wasn't hidden because it wasn't there. Most of us aren't bigots or racist or sexist. Mitt Romney has a black grandchild. Everyone gave him shit. That man's not racist. That's why he has a black grandchild. I have black relatives, you fucks. We're not racist. We don't give a fuck. We just don't think people are special because they're black, because they're Asian, because they're Muslim. We don't give them special treatment because they're women or gay. We don't give a fuck. When I talk to a gay guy, the first thing that comes to my mind is not that he's gay. I don't care if Abe Lincoln sucked cock. That doesn't define Abe Lincoln. Who he fucked doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. We already had a gay president. And you know what? Everyone found out recently, and nobody cares. We embrace gay culture. We embraced it so goddamn much at one point that it helped boom the whole AIDS kick, and then there was a backlash. And now we're coming back to that again, where everyone's loving gay culture again because straight people are so fucking bored. Because you're not happy. You're not in the relationship you want to be in. Because you're usually fucked up. You have some emotional damage like Susanna here. She's still upset about her ex-boyfriend, and Trump represents that. He represents that guy that she can't control and change, and even though she tries to stop him, the world won't cater to her feelings. And it'll never cater to your feelings, you fucking bitch. I'm sick of this. You know what was sick about the end of this whole thing writing? Is that the whole idea is that we're all still racist and bad. They're doubling down on these PC ideas, and that now that Trump is president, we're all gonna come out and start beating up the gay people and hurting black people. No, you guys just keep committing a bunch of fake hate crimes to make up a narrative because you want racism, you want sexism, because it gives your life meaning to have those things. Well, guess what? Those out there of us who are actually rational people that care about real people, we don't just assume Donald Trump's a racist, sexist, or a homophobe because of your opinion. I remember him waving the flag at the Republican convention and saying he would fight for the LGBT community. He's one of the only people who's talked about Islam being against the homosexual community. They throw gays off buildings in countries with Sharia law. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Don't you talk to me about equal rights or what's good or bad. You don't give a fuck. This is you virtue signaling and talking about your problems and this guy you can't get over. And Trump is the patriarchal white male, the dad that you all hate. The dad that you didn't like, who didn't let you go out and do what you wanted to do. Because he maybe had some sense of his own level of morality. Sure, he's a flawed guy. Sure, he says stupid shit, but you're no better. Quit acting like you're better. And quit telling us that our opinions make us shit. I didn't even support Trump, but all the people who did, I don't think they're all racist idiots. It's 60 million people. Do you guys lack this much self-awareness? It is so frustrating that that in that in this year we are still dealing with political correctness. Do you remember why we all became liberals? It was to fight conservative Christian bullshit, telling us that we couldn't watch the films we wanted or play video games, or telling us porn was toxic. I mean, they used to bitch at us all the time and tell us that we had to follow Christ's word, and I hated it. Now you're telling me I have to be accepting of Muhammad, who married a fucking little girl and fucked her? She was 9? Why do I have to think that's okay, and if someone believes in that is okay? I think that's insane. Why are we forgiving these things? Why are we not holding everyone to these standards? Why is it only Republicans and white men that are held to a moral standard? Why is nobody else? Why are the black kids who beat up that white kid? Why aren't they vilified more? Why aren't the blacks who shot the cops in Dallas vilified more? Why is it every time a cop shoots a black guy, the whole country's racist all of a sudden, and black people are just getting gunned down like a wild wild west? You know why Trump's gonna win again in 4 years? It's because you guys are never going to look back at your mistakes. There was a New York Times article today about this, how the left has lost touch with Americans, the base. Every comment was just people going, oh, fuck you, liberals didn't lose touch. We got the popular vote. Popular vote. Everyone agrees with us. We're going to win again. The future's on our hands. That's ignorance to think that way and to feel that way and believe that you just have the future locked up because you're trying to brainwash young people in the liberal college, or you're trying to make every Hollywood film push a message. We're showing you that it's not working. Trump won. Ghostbusters bombed. We don't like you. We don't like your bullshit. I don't like articles like this. You're not a journalist. You're not a writer. You're just a cunt who's bitching about her problems on here. You're a man-hating website. Everyday Feminism is a shithole. Even the title's fucking awful. Every day they have to come up with some kind of article that explains privilege, bigotry, mansplaining, and gaslighting. And she's traumatized by Trump and all these abuse victims because he just talks straight. He talks how he is. Gaslighting can happen on both a macro and micro levels and can take many forms, but its message usually boils down to this: if you have a problem with something I've done, the problem is actually with you. Yeah, a lot of the time it is. I'm not racist, I'm not sexist. It's your problem. It's your problem. You have to prove that I'm a racist or a sexist. You can't just accuse me of things because of your fucked up worldview. Your fucked up worldview doesn't define reality. You can live in your own reality, that's fine. I don't have to. And those 60 million Americans don't have to either. And they're going to vote against you again because political correctness is bad. PC culture is bad. Quit telling people what to say or not say. Quit telling people what the fuck is right or wrong, and quit telling people that they have to believe that everyone who claims they're a man is a man now, and everyone who claims they're a woman's a woman now, okay? It doesn't work that way. You don't get to have 76 genders, and I don't call someone a pixie just because they feel comfortable with that. You don't get to tell Jordan Peterson what the fuck to say. He's a professor, a smart man, he knows what he's talking about. Your cultural Marxist dogma is fucking vomit. It is vomit. It is vomit that I clean up off the floor. Your shame. Your shame when you write things like this. Your pathetic attempts at trying to say something profound just come off like a college freshman who's in a political science class or philosophy class, and they have a professor feeding them bullshit, and they think it is fucking Jesus Christ come back to tell them the hope of humanity and the future, and that everything will be okay. Well, guess what? You're still gonna die alone and be unhappy. Sorry. That's reality. And you're going to be even less happy than most of us because you're still obsessed with the fact that you didn't get your way. Well, you're never going to get your way, bitch. Sorry if I went on a rant there, but this really pissed me off and I'm sick of this crap. The same way this reasoning teaches people to suck it up when their partners hurt them, it teaches them to stay silent about injustice. Or, as I like to say, project injustice to when it's not there, to the point that you annoy us so much that we just think that Donald Trump's okay. Because what does really being racist mean anymore? What does being sexist mean anymore? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense anymore. They've lost meaning. I don't even know what to think anymore when someone says that. It used to be a big deal. It's the kind of intimidation that actually does all these things. Trump criticizes people unfairly, discourages them from discussing issues that are in fact important, expresses extreme defensiveness, takes advantage of his privilege, and suppresses people's opinions. And no matter what he'd have us believe, we're not irrational for observing this. Yes, you are irrational for observing this, and real issues are the border, immigration, the trade deals, Islam, terrorism. Those are real issues. Not your bathrooms, not equal pay, not all that bullshit you guys make up, and not your ex-boyfriend who gaslighted you. I'm sorry that you got gaslighted, but the gas that you're putting out here is even stinkier. This is the patriarchy. Like, comment, and subscribe. How do you feel about gaslighting? Have you been gaslighted? Do you understand the term? Does it bother you? Do you think she used it correctly? Do you agree that Donald Trump reminds you of abusive ex-relationships you possibly had? I don't know. Anyway, until next time, go fuck yourselves.